No, you watch it the next day.
I watched the main card because I watched the main card and literally that was it.
No, that's all good. We'll talk about the main card then.
Sure thing.
Yeah, go on now. So we are live officially with the British MMA Scene. It is awesome to have you here. I'm bad with intros. We do it all unorthodox here, but we'll get you on more as well, especially with the UK card coming up.
Of course, UFC London coming around the corner. We've got Tom Aspinall was announced to be fighting Alex Volkov. Arnold Allen and Dan Hooker was announced today as well. Dan Hooker's dropping back down to featherweight. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens with that.
And I got a nice message from John Gooden when I asked him what he thought about the fight. And he replied saying, I asked him how the weight cut he thinks would go for Dan Hooker going back down to featherweight. He hasn't been there for like 5 years. Yeah. And he just said he's a constant professional. He'll make the weight, no problem. He's always, he travels so far for every fight. The distance isn't going to be a problem with him. So it's going to be a proper test for Arnold, but I think he can overcome it.
It'd be interesting. It'd be very interesting because Arnold likes to play quite a long game. Like you'll find he's gone to a lot of decisions when he works up the rankings and likes to throw his jab out there. But Dan, as much as he's quite a tall, rangy fighter, he closes the distance well, like with his high knees and stuff like that. And his kickboxing's impeccable, man. But that's the kind of stuff they do at City Kickboxing, I suppose.
He gets a rough record as well, considering he literally fights anybody at any time.
Anybody, anytime, any place.
Yeah, exactly.
Come on, who else wanted to fight Makhachev? I don't want to fight Makhachev.
Unreal. Yeah, it didn't even land a punch on him.
Speaking of crazy Russians, Said Nurmagomedov before Cody Stamen.
Did you see that coming?
That was a smooth transition, right?
That's the smoothest we've ever done.
But so Said Nurmagomedov, what was it, like 47 seconds?
Hang on, I've got it here. 47 seconds against Cody Stamen. No one's done that to Cody Stamen.
Came in, didn't even break a sweat, left. No. Come from Crazy Mountain, brother.
Wrapped up a guillotine with a rear naked choke hold, completely triangled off his arms. Never seen that.
I was shocked as to why Cody was really willing to wrestle with them.
Yeah.
Because, don't get me wrong, like Cody Stamen's a good wrestler. Like I've watched some of his fights before. I think Mike Owens had him on an interview not too long ago. Honestly, completely down to earth guy. I've spoke to him a couple of times on my page, and completely level headed dude. He's had some like some shit in the past. Like he lost his brother as well, and he went into a fight like days after. And so like I've got like the utmost respect for him. But when I saw that he was shooting for takedowns and trying to actually clinch with someone who has Magomedov at the end of their name, I was like, that is a wrap.
Yeah, but maybe it's because the first 30 seconds the striking looked like Zabit. That was scary as well. He was turning side kicks.
This is the scary thing, man. They're starting to look good. Like it's like on the feet now. They're not just acknowledged as some good wrestlers who will look to take you down like that. Like they can stand and they can strike. Like Habib and Makhachev. But they can actually stand and trade. And Zabit, like you said.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know where he's gone, but Saeed looks.
Yeah, what is Zabit doing? Is he like a plumber or something in Russia? Because he's got to have another job now.
I have no idea. You saw him. Everyone was linking him to Yair at one stage, which would have been massive. But what would he finish on? Calvin Kattar? I think that might have been his last fight where he beat him with a 3-round decision.
3-round main event. So it was kind of weird because Zabit's cardio has been questioned quite a lot.
Yeah,
and they'd said if Calvin had an extra 2 rounds, fight would have been completely.
He's definitely a 2-round fighter, isn't he? Yeah.
Yeah. Like the first 2 rounds, the first time I ever saw him fight was against Kyle Bosniak, UFC 223. And I think that's nearly 4 years ago now.
That was one of my favorite fights of all time.
And Zabit was just looked levels above. But then in the 3rd round started to fade a little bit. And obviously when you go to like the elite of competition and you look at people like Calvin and like other people going up the rankings, it's a pretty tough way to be. And to a higher extent, McGregor was like that, like a lot. Once like when Diaz finished McGregor years ago, like no one saw that coming. Then all of a sudden, everyone had it in their mind. Oh, he's a 2-round fighter. Mm-hmm. Like things happen, man. You got to preserve your energy, I suppose, especially like, for the longer rounds.
Yeah, and he was cutting crazy weight to make. I think he missed weight. He might have missed weight a couple of times as well because he was fighting at featherweight, and the dude's like 6'2", and obviously built like a brick shithouse. Like he's super broad for a long guy as well for that weight. Like, he should have been at lightweight, but
I think he fought. He fought. I want to say Brandon Davis, I think he fought him at
Yeah.
155. And but yeah, so moral of the story: Russians are just crazy guys.
Especially Saeed Nurmagomedov. I mean, that name is scary in its own. But I want to go through to another crazy guy then, because you would have seen Michel Pereira.
Oh, of course, mate. He's like this guy has built a profile on just throwing crazy shit and being an entertaining and cool guy. That's the reason. That's the reason why I tune in to watch him fight now.
I adore him. He was. What was the first fight? I really paid attention to
Tristan Connolly.
Tristan Connolly one was weird because Tristan, he took like 4 days notice, underweight, like came up 2 weight classes or something, and then held him and just beat him somehow. I don't know what happened there. I don't know if it was an awful weight cut. Whether he replayed that fight 10 times. I don't know how Pereira would ever lose.
Yeah, of course.
But then he just absolutely messed Diego Sanchez up, and Diego faked an injury to get out of it.
Tactical stuff, mate. That is
tactical. Yeah, I mean, he's got a win over Michel Pereira. I mean,
that is a veteran move.
Yeah, absolutely. But against Andre
in 10 years' time, right? Hear me out. In 10 years' time, I'm going to look on like Sherdog or Tapology, and my kid who's like going to start getting into MMA years down the line is going to be like, "Whoa, Diego Sanchez was good. He beat the backflipping Brazilian guy."
There's going to be a lot of fights like that. That's where you're going to say Anthony Smith could have beaten John Jones. Knee, all that good stuff.
MMA math is confusing though, man. Like completely going off topic. I know we're meant to be doing a UFC 270 review. I'm sorry.
You talk whatever you want.
But like when people try and talk about MMA math, like I'll see it in the comments and stuff, and I'm like, it doesn't make sense because there's like a rock paper scissors analogy. An example of that was Cruz, Garbrandt, and Dillashaw.
Yeah.
Cruz beat Dillashaw. Dillashaw beat Cruz. But Dillashaw beat Garbrandt lost to Dillashaw. Like it's completely backwards.
Yeah.
Same with Rose and I think Jessica Andrade and Joanna.
Yeah.
But obviously Namajunas managed to get Andrade back on the rematch, so that's kind of stifled a bit. But just just about. But the sport is confusing, man.
Yeah, no, I hate
love it though.
MMA
It's the best sport in the world.
MMA maths annoyingly worked out well for. I was talking to Brad Wheeler when we did the predictions for Amanda Nunes and Pena, and he was the only person I knew that took Pena, and I called him mental.
And he said, "Put a bet on or anything."
He might have put a small bet on, yeah.
If you didn't have to put a bet on, you're a bad friend, man.
Well, I thought it was mental. I made a video about it, just saying how stupid people are for even thinking Pena stands a chance, and then Amanda comes in overweight and flat-footed.
And you wake up and it's like Juliana Pena Octagon interview. You're like,
I watched it live, and I was after watching Amanda gas in 90 seconds. I was like, oh no, this is going to end badly. Yeah, but I was going to say, he was talking about MMA math, and that's the only reason he went for it. And I said, MMA math doesn't make sense because Juliana Pena beat Kat Zingano. I think, and Kat Zingano beat Amanda 9 years ago.
I would have probably called him stupid and reported him in the comments.
Yeah, and then he's bloody right.
Now, anytime Nunes fights, there's going to be like a little bit of like 3-second eye contact with you and Brad. Just
yeah, exactly that.
That's my girl.
He's the only one, but I got a message in the morning just going, "I told you" in capital letters. So never doubt him. Hopefully he can come on.
Brad.
Hopefully Brad can come on for the UFC London one.
Yeah, that'd be nice, man.
That'd be nice to chat to him about it. So no, he's we've got Steve from the MMA Minute in.
Right, and I believe so. Am I mistaken by saying we were talking about Michel Pereira and now all of a sudden we're talking about Brad Wheeler and Juliana Pena? Let's go back to Michel Pereira.
Michel Pereira, yeah. Let's talk about Michel. So
yeah, he's a crazy bastard.
Yeah, but in that first round, he was getting pieced up by a guy that, in my opinion, is a very plodding boxer. He doesn't have. When you say mixed martial arts skills, of course he does, but he's known for his hands, and that's clearly
that's his bread and butter. Yeah,
that's his bread and butter. He didn't really show much takedown defense. He didn't show much. He had no kicking game. So all Pereira had to think about was hands, which made it very easy for him going into that round 2 and 3. Yeah, Fiallo looked much better, Steve's saying. So, he did for the first round. Second round, Michel. Whatever his corner said to him, that pep talk, because I skip, you got to record in England, haven't you? So skip those corner talk, skip that 1 minute mark. in between rounds. And whatever Pereira said to him, he came out, he did a cartwheel. He looked like his old self again. He looked like he was having fun. And I think that's where you see the best of Michel Pereira, when he's actually enjoying the fight.
Yeah, I think in the first round, like it can go. Like, I mean, I've competed before, and the first round it's like there's so many different elements. Like the first round could be full of energy, then you have an extreme adrenaline dump, and the second round feels like 10 minutes. Or it can be first round, you're trying to process the fact, okay, I'm in a fight, this guy's trying to punch me, and then it's okay. So all right, he's punching you. Wouldn't the logical thing be punch him back and do some spinning shit?
Yeah,
so
exactly.
I can imagine that his coach probably just said to him in Portuguese, do a cartwheel and try and backflip on his head or something.
Yeah, be unpredictable, essentially. Mix it up, make him think.
Mix up the martial arts, yeah, of course.
Yeah, exactly. That's how you win in this sport.
What is that style even called? Like is there a name for that?
I don't know. He's got kind of a capoeira vibe.
Capoeira, yeah.
Yeah, more like just. I bet he's a great dancer. It's that sort of thing, isn't it?
Oh yeah, I bet he
kick.
is smooth with the ladies, mate.
Absolutely. I don't know how he makes that weight either. I don't know
huge.
what. He's enormous. He walks around like 185.
He fought against Zalim Imadaev.
Mm-hmm.
And this was like one of the only times I've ever watched a Russian lose, like in embarrassing fashion. And Michel Pereira was literally in the fight, being unpredictable, throwing like Anthony Pettis Showtime kicks and stuff, backflipping, doing that kind of capoeira style, and open hand slapping him. He's literally licking his palms and saying, "You remember when you slapped me?" And he was slapping him, and I'm like, "That's a comfortable Michel Pereira."
Yeah, no, he's a scary dude when he's comfortable, isn't he? How far do you think he can go in this division?
Every fight is scary when they're comfortable, though. Like you look at Cody Garbrandt again, going back to Garbrandt against Dominic Cruz. Cyril Gane in his fight before Ngannou against when he fought Volkov, when he fought Derek Lewis, he looked unbelievable.
Yeah. How far do you think Michel Pereira can go in the division?
I was asked this. I think, and I don't want to be too cynical about it because anything's happened. To me, I want to say that he can break into the top 10.
Mm-hmm.
I think it will be a case of he'll need a main event fight. So he'll need a 5-rounder to kind of see how he copes in the championship rounds. That'll be the biggest indication as to how far he'll go in the top 10. If he fights, number 11 or number 12, if he fights like a Li Jingliang or something, and you can clearly see in the 4th and the 5th that he's fading against someone like that, then it'll just depend what he does with his training, because he's going to want to keep it original. He's got to keep it authentic. He's got to do what brought him to the dance, I suppose. Yeah. And that would be backflipping and cartwheel kicking. But at the same time, like, you've also got to mix up the martial arts again, especially against people like Masvidal and against Colby.
Yeah.
Like, picture Michel Pereira against Colby Covington. That fight, I can picture it in my head. Michel will go for like some spinning back kick, spinning hook kick. Colby takes the back, fights on the floor for like 24 and a half minutes.
Yeah.
That's literally the difference between winning and losing. Colby wins. The title would be a wrestling clinic showcase. Michel Pereira's grappling exploited, and then they've just stifled a prospect. So it's just a case of like good marketing, how they look after him, how far they want him to go, because Dana White privilege exists. Dana White privilege does exist. So hopefully that they don't. But then again, the welterweight division's full of wolves, so they'll have to feed into the wolves regardless.
Well, even at around the 10 mark, you got people like Santiago Ponzinibbio and Neil Magny.
Ponzinibbio slept on a lot.
Yeah, for sure.
He's unreal.
He's wicked, isn't he?
And Neil Magny as well. Like Neil Magny is one of the only people who actually wants to fight Khamzat.
And he didn't get the fight. He's fighting someone else. I forgot now. But he's all booked up, which is mental. Surely the guy that wants to fight him should get him. But that just to me means they're going to give. I think Khamzat's got one more fight in him. If he dominates that, he's getting a title shot. I just think he's so.
You think so?
Yeah, I think he's going to get a top 5 guy. I really do.
It's possible.
The Gilbert Burns fight looks likely.
I feel like he's going to have 2 fights. But then again,
he beats Gilbert Burns though the same way he beat Li Jingliang. Could you imagine that?
That's what I'm saying. If he beats Gilbert Burns, I mean, what's Burns, number 3?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, I think Burns is number 3 or number 4. That's the right end of top 5.
Yep.
And I did a post last week about like certain star power. Leon Edwards is on his way to a title shot after beating Nate Diaz. He's not ranked in any division.
Yeah.
So surely beating like a 4th ranked fighter and someone who's fought for a title like Gilbert Burns.
Yeah.
Because Gilbert Burns has fought. He beat Damian Maia. He beat Tyron Woodley and he beat Wonderboy as well. All of them have been in title fights. Yeah, the sport's evolving, but that's a pretty big name to your resume.
He beat Wonderboy as well after losing to Kamaru, I think, didn't he? He fought him afterwards. So he's bounced back from the loss. He still looks dangerous. He's the only person to drop Kamaru as well.
Mm-hmm.
So if Hamzat can do that, mate, if Hamzat does that, especially as Gilbert Burns is not only one of the best grapplers in MMA, but one of the best grapplers on the planet, just grapplers in general.
Yeah, he's a phenomenal grappler.
Yeah. So if he can manhandle him on the ground, which I personally don't think he can, I think Li Jingliang is a very good, durable mixed martial artist, but I don't think he's anywhere that level. He's a better striker.
He's more of like a jack of all trades. He's not particularly world class at anything, but he's pretty clued up on everything. But when you come against somebody who has a lifetime of grappling and has worked on how to transition that into high level striking as well, such as Hamzat, that's when you look like a fish out of water. And I think Hamzat picked up Jingliang and walked him over to Dana White and was like, "Watch my fight. I'm the king. Let me fight Brock Lesnar."
I mean, how do you not?
He's doing this against someone who could break into the top 10.
Yeah. I said to people, go on, let Leon fight him, then let's see what happens. And then after watching the Li Jingliang fight, I was like, I'm so happy Leon didn't fight him.
Fair play to Leon for trying to get that fight arranged 3 times.
Yeah. And he got shit for it. He got shit saying he never wanted to fight him.
And then
the amount of abuse he gets.
Yeah, people were then saying, like to Hamzat, pulled out the fight over a cold. Well, the same people who are saying that he pulled out over a cold are probably like wearing their masks in Tesco.
Yeah, exactly that. So I just can't wait to see him again, man. I really can't.
He's becoming a big draw. He's becoming a needle mover.
Yeah, he is. He's that next star. You got the Rondas, the Israels, the Connors, the Brocks, whatever.
But 2 people who stand out for me as needle movers now, depending on how they're managed, are 2 fighters in the main and the co-main, Francis Ngannou and Brandon Moreno. Brandon Moreno, like, I think he probably had the loudest reaction than anybody in the whole building. When he won the title a few months ago, everyone was going wild for him. There's photos of him like playing with Lego and then taking photos with other other fighters and champions. He just seems like if you don't like Brandon Moreno, you've got a problem. So popularity, and it just makes the flyweight division a bit more interesting. So hopefully we do get a few more needle movers. And that being said, hopefully Dana White decides to pay Ngannou a little bit more, because I don't think he'll stay otherwise.
No, I don't think he will either. But how did you score the Moreno Figgy fight?
I think the knockdowns edged it for Figueiredo.
You think it was the right decision, 3-2?
I think. I mean, it sets up a 4th fight.
Yeah, which has never happened under the UFC banner.
Never. I think.
Never. 4 fights have happened, I think, with people. I think Vanderlei and Rampage might.
Vanderlei and Rampage. Yeah, I was just about to bring that one up. I think they're 2-2 now, so they could have a 5th fight, but they've both got dad bods now. So
I think I called Rampage a fatty Bombay in the last thing. He's so fat, it's unbelievable.
Did you see him against Fedor? How big he looked?
His belly was wiggling like Roy Nelson, and I was just like, I don't want to. It's ruining the image of Rampage Jackson. You know?
Yeah, my image of Rampage is him like flatlining people like Chuck, him powerbombing people in Pride, and then howling in like the center of the ring
with a chain around his neck and a camo shorts. Yeah, exactly.
And not taking any back steps like to John Jones back when they fought. But the 4th fight between Moreno and Figueiredo, I think no one would be against it, because there's not many marketable fights for the champion. So you've got Askar Askarov. I think he's undefeated still. He's still undefeated fighter.
He got a draw against Moreno, didn't he? Yeah. 14-0 with 1 draw.
And without sounding disrespectful, I don't think that'll be many pay-per-view buys. So that is already bound to be a co-main event. Yeah. But I feel now with a 4th fight between Moreno and Figueiredo, depending on who else is on the card, you can make that a main event, because they've already had 3 fights that have delivered. I mean, look at the one on Saturday. That was quality fight. No one was disappointed with that fight anyway.
No.
The first fight that was a majority draw, that
Yeah.
was a quality fight, and just how they handled themselves. Like they just, in my opinion, is the perfect image of MMA. I think Figueiredo was unsure whether to try and be like a good guy or a heel, but like I said, Moreno is a brilliant selling point now, and in my opinion, it's in Dana's best interests that Moreno wins the title.
Especially as it's so, I don't want to say the word controversial, and people have said it's a robbery for Moreno, which is absolute horseshit.
No, it's not. Yeah, it's not.
It's not. I scored it the first time I watched it. I scored it for Moreno.
Okay.
And then I rewatched it, and I scored it a draw.
Oh, really?
So a lot of people gave Figgy the first round, Moreno the second, Moreno the third, Figgy the fourth, fifth. I scored it the first two for Moreno.
Yeah.
Third a draw because the knock that Figgy was getting beaten up in that round.
I had the first two for Moreno as well.
Okay, so it's just however it's so subjective. It can't be.
It depends who you ask. Yeah,
exactly. But the knockdowns have to count. He nearly ended him. How does it not as much? And this is I really don't like Figueiredo.
He's a questionable guy. Like watching him fight, I love watching him fight. He's real calm. He's collected. He gives me like Piotr Jan like vibes. Just how composed he looks standing up. I watched his fight against Joe Benavidez. I think it was a rematch.
That massacre.
And, Benavidez, it wasn't a fight. Come on, what am I thinking? But Joe Benavidez, woke up screaming. I don't know if you saw that.
Yeah.
Scary
with all the stewards
man.
around him, wasn't it? Yeah, he's celebrating. He wakes up and yells.
Figueiredo looks cold, and he does all the time. And I feel like now he's found his equal, in my opinion. Like they've got a draw. They're both 1-1. But I mean, there is reason to believe that this fight could have been a draw as well. Maybe you have 2 rounds. One of those rounds could have been a 10-8, possibly.
He knocked him down twice in a round, but Moreno never was like hurt. There was no flash knockdown.
He was never in that much trouble.
Yeah, but they have to count for something. That's why I scored the third round a draw, because he was getting pieced up for 4 minutes and 30 seconds, and then he drops him. So you can't score it for Moreno because he got dropped, but you can't score it for Figgy because he got pieced up for nearly the majority, like all the round. So but I know for a fact that judges get told to not score draws. They must choose. So
really?
That's why you don't see
for the rounds, like they don't do like a 10-10.
They are told exclusively, please do not score a draw if you don't have to. Like we need a winner, because they hate draws in MMA, which I think is a bit weird, because if it's a draw, it's a draw. You know, it's even. Don't let because a fighter will lose their pay based on a judge
turn up to show, turn up to win.
Yeah, exactly. So that's a different story about pay scales and how that matters. So, but I'm happy that if a fourth fight happens,
we got there.
But I'd rather see Askar Askarov or Kai Kara fight just to mix it up and then bring in Moreno again.
Depends
on how long they're going to wait.
Yeah, it depends. Like they don't. I mean, how long is like a medical suspension? Like do they have like a certain time that they have to like lay off, or?
I don't know for a 5-round main event. It depends on
because they're both open to
I'd imagine a few months. I'd imagine 3 months.
Figueiredo said, I think if he behaves, I'll give him the 4th fight. And I'm like, all right, you two are one of these. Okay.
You got choked out, yeah.
Moreno said, he's eager to get the belt back. That's obviously what he wants to do.
Yeah.
And I was looking at all the tweets on the fight, and they were like, for the first time, like, I'm actually happy for a quadrilogy to happen.
Yeah.
And which says a lot, because not many people want to see. Right, I'll ask you: do you want to see Nate Diaz and Conor McGregor 3rd fight?
Yeah.
Like you might want it to happen, but I've spoke to a lot of people have been like, do you know what? I feel like that ship has sailed because of how long it's been. Whereas these guys have fought each other nearly 4 times in the space of what? Well, it probably will
2
be
years.
like 4 times. And I mean, how much cage time is that? So 25 into the 3rd round. That they could potentially spend like well over an hour fighting each other.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Exactly.
An hour of punching the same face.
Yeah, so far it's 12 rounds they've fought each other.
Yes, yeah, it is.
12 rounds. That's insane, isn't it? It's over an hour already, I think.
Yeah, it
25,
is.
25,
Yeah,
50. Yeah,
it's pretty much an hour. Yeah.
yeah, an hour already. So it's insane, isn't it? But no, I'll be dead happy with that because Figueiredo is scary on his day, and Moreno has just evolved. He's just evolved. His power v speed is the way I describe it.
His story is unbelievable. I think he was cut from the UFC. I think he lost. Wait, did he lose the Ultimate Fighter?
He lost. So he was seeded as 16 with Team Benavides, and he went against Team Cejudo's Pantoja, who was rank seeded 1 at the time. That was who I also did not win it. Tim Elliott won it.
Yeah, because he went on to fight Demetrius Johnson,
and he got whooped for 5 rounds. So that was the whole thing was about trying to beat DJ. But what Moreno did show is he nearly took out Pantoja on the Ultimate Fighter with the 2 rounds you get. Yeah, it was close.
Tough guy, man.
That's another guy in the division that I wouldn't mind seeing up there because I love Pantoja. He's wicked. He's really good.
Yeah, no, Pantoja's up there. Like other flyweights do speak highly of him. Moreno spoke highly of him as well. But Kai Kara France, he's a game opponent, you know.
Yeah,
Kai Kara France gives me like little guy Dan Hooker vibes.
He's him, isn't he? He's a flyweight Dan Hooker. And you think we're talking so positively about this division. 18 months ago, they were thinking about cutting it.
They were thinking about getting rid of it. Fucking Triple C saved it, and now you've got Moreno and Figueiredo that have pretty much carried the torch by mistake in a way. They haven't intended to. They've just wanted to keep the division alive, and now you found a potential star. Because Demetrius Johnson, in my opinion, best flyweight to ever do it. He's one of my favourite fighters to watch.
Yeah.
But to the casual fan, it's like, okay, he weighs 125 pounds. If I get him in a headlock, he won't move. Like that. That's the casual armchair fan. Whereas now people are watching Brandon Moreno and their attitude shifted a bit. It's like, oh, you know, this guy's really cool. He's a completely wholesome guy. So that's why I still believe that it's in Dana's best interest and everybody else's that he wins the belt, because then he's going to be the person to carry the torch and as pay-per-views.
Yeah, exactly. And it's a Mexican champ. You saw like Nate Diaz came out to celebrate him and even tweeted afterwards saying Moreno still won. So
yes,
I love it. I love it all. But another guy you were talking about in their comfort zone was Cyril Garn earlier. So in the full breakdown for this, I think most people had this. Goes past the second round, Cyril Garn's going to outpoint him. He's going to outstrike him. He's avoided the big shots. He's used distance and management, completely overwhelmed him, cut the corners. Maybe you can just... Not going to hurt on Ngannou. I said there's no way he's knocking him out. There's no chance.
He's going to go distance, tactical masterclass.
Yeah, he kind of has a third gear and he just slots it in and just cruises the rest of the way, which is what he was kind of doing in the first 2 rounds. And I was going, well, it's doing what I said it would do. And Ngannou, one thing I noticed is he got clipped a couple times. He got jabbed and got hit with the right cross and he backed up big time. And I'm like, he's got Brock Lesnar syndrome where he can't take a punch, but he's never had to.
Yeah, he's never had to.
Because he's got so much goddamn power.
I watched his debut fight yesterday, and it was in like some ring in France, and he completely just steamrolled through the guy, and he didn't take a punch or anything. It might be a case of Brock Lesnar syndrome, but now he's got those rounds under his belt, I suppose. But if you get the chance, have a look at it, because he gets his opponent in some kind of armbar. There's no real name for it. He apparently just said to him in French, "Tap or I'll break it." I was crying. That it was funny.
Wow.
Yeah. So when Garnet hit him, I was like, okay, maybe third gear Garnet hits hard. But then he turned into Nurmagomedov and got the paprika hat, and he was ready to go then.
That's the name of this video. It's Francis Nurmagomedov.
Nice. You're welcome. Get the thumbnail sorted. Put him in the hat as well.
With the hat, I'll Photoshop it. But nice. Yeah, he really did, didn't he? That was a power slam. It was Josh Barnett, DC. You know, when DC lifted him over his head, kind of.
DC's commentary. I don't know if you heard it. What do you think of it if you did hear it?
What, Francis doing jiu-jitsu?
He was like, yeah. Oh my God.
I laughed so hard. He was shocked.
Yeah, no, that's what it was. It's because a lot of people call it unprofessional because he's a mixed martial artist.
He's a commentator.
He's got submissions before, but he is a good commentator. Yeah. And going into the fight, people portrayed Ngannou as the same guy who knocked out Rosenstrike. the swing,
Swing,
clip him with one,
swing.
and he's gone. Yeah. But he completely blew everyone out the water, and Dana White didn't wrap the belt round his waist. I noticed that as well.
Yeah, I don't know why he wrapped it around everyone.
He wrapped it around Figgy, and I think he was gone then.
Yeah, he gave it to Figgy's shoulder. I think he stopped wrapping it around people's waist as well if they don't want it. He just gives it to him now. It was on his shoulder. But
well, do you remember when Stipe embarrassed him before? Stipe took the belt off. He took it off Dana when he fought Ngannou, because Dana was once promoting Ngannou to be, you know, he hits really hard, and then those two fought, and Stipe in the middle of the octagon took the belt off Dana and gave it to his coach to wrap around him instead.
Blimey.
So I don't know. Maybe Dana's just looking to kind of steer away from it. I'm not too sure.
I think he's a bit sour about all the money talks, isn't it? He
hates
it all. He hates the contract talks. He's like, you know, what did he say when people talked about it? He said it's like the NFL. This is the big leagues. You know, make your own MMA promotion. Work out how to pay the fighters. Then, so you know, he's like, there's no negotiating with him. But I think you've got to. You know, John Jones was being very unreasonable, in my opinion, asking for like 15 million or whatever. I think so too. Rumored. That's just ridiculous. It's like, this isn't boxing, mate. This sport is still in its infancy in a way. You know,
it's still growing financially. You've still got people that are constantly illegally streaming, and then you've got people who see the ESPN prices and they're like, ugh. But then they're the same people who'll be like, oh, you know what? Jake's got a point about that fighter pay.
Yeah, exactly. And it's not like boxing where there's 7 different belts. There's a WBO, a WBC, and
it's
IBF.
undisputed.
Exactly. It's one belt. And that's it. And there's, you know, you can say there's different organizations, but Bellator pay fighters based on sponsorship money gets them their money. It's not a set purse. Cage Warriors are paid very minimal money. LFA very minimal money.
Regional.
They're promoting people. Yeah, that's how you get what they're offering you is we're promoting you on telly. You've got UFC Fight Pass now, whatever. So the UFC are going, here's their money. You know, a lot of people. I think contracts are like 10 grand to start with. If you just come in, $10,000. Yeah, and then 10 to win. I hate the win bonus. That's something I really don't like. But yeah, if Ngannou's wanting, say, $1 million, what do you get paid? Like £500,000 or something?
Yeah, I think you got 500,000, and then you got like an extra 100K for like fight week incentive.
Okay,
probably the Venom sponsorship.
That probably isn't enough to be the best, like the baddest man on the planet.
Ngannou, right? I say this to my friends. There's 7.7 billion people on the planet.
Yeah.
Ngannou stands a chance against every single human being that exists on this earth.
Yeah. And a lot of them at once.
Yeah. He could destroy everybody on the planet, bar Hezbollah, and he's the baddest man on the planet, and he gets paid 500K for it. Think about how well you can. I mean, Brock Lesnar, for example. Brock Lesnar just wrestled and looked really mean while doing it. He was basically made his own like steroid Olympics, and they promoted him as like a huge beast. Look at him, he's knocking out Frank Mir, and then they're not capitalizing on it with Ngannou because I feel like Dana's been a bit too stubborn.
I think it's exactly that. It's just stubbornness. Like Ngannou to me he's a Greek god. Look at him.
Yes, he is. He's a freak of nature. He is unreal. If he walks into my house, if he comes into my house right now, just walks through that door, I am the guest.
Yeah.
I'm like, sorry, Mom, I can't do nothing about this.
I love it. I mean, if they measured his punching power, if you ever saw the test, at 50 miles an hour, that'll kill most people if you get hit by that. That's why Overeem soul left his body. That's why he was just. How these people absorb these shots and aren't killed is beyond me.
It's a kiss of death, mate.
It really is. So, you know, Garn, in my opinion, is the future of this division. Even with Ngannou
Tom
in
Aspinall, I think.
Mate, we could talk for years about Tom. I love Tom.
He's a quality guy.
I got a lot of American friends that aren't sold on him yet, you know, because he beat up a fat Jake Collier. You know,
in convincing fashion, though.
Need him in the belly and hit him in the jaw. He's what I will say against Tom is you're seeing him strike people, and he's grappler. His dad's a jiu-jitsu coach, isn't it? You know?
Yeah. Aspinall BJJ,
yeah. And what he did against Arlovsky just showed his IQ. Okay, I can't knock him out. He's too tough right now. Hurt my hand. Let's just grab him.
Take him down. Yeah.
Double-legged him instantly and didn't even get a full choke on. Just grabbed him against the cage and
grabbed his neck. Put a bit of pressure on.
bear in mind, Tom, I watched him so much in Cage Warriors. I know
Yeah.
you know the regional scene.
Mhm.
So he's had, I think, before he got into the UFC, it was like 9 minutes of competition.
Yeah.
That's it. 9
Mhm.
minutes. Because people can't take a shot from him. So what
And
are
he's
you meant
fast.
to do? He's so fast. He is
Him
like a
and
gun.
Cyril Gahn, they move like they move like middleweights.
Yeah.
They literally move like middleweights, and these aren't light people. I mean, what did Cyril Gahn weigh in at? Was it like 247?
247 and
Yeah.
257 for
Yeah.
us
So
Francis.
247 for Cyril Gahn. That's a lot. That's nearly two. That's two Davison Figueiredos when they weigh in. That's two
Yeah.
Figueiredos, two adult men in
Yeah.
one, and they're moving. They just shouldn't be. They're not meant to move like that.
Yeah, the bounce they have, they're very similar. But I actually, after watching Garn's inexperience on the mat, I favour Tom Aspinall against Cyril Garn in my head.
I
Like
think
I'm
so
looking
too.
at it, doing the MMA math calculation, all the memes with the coding, like trying to work it out.
It comes down to like you have to have the perfect balance of the real like intense training, and at Team Calbon they do a lot.
Yeah.
I've seen them training. I saw Till and Aspinall train together, and I think they were throwing up in buckets like consistently because of like the intensity of how they were training. And a lot of people they're like, well, that's stupid.
Yeah.
But sometimes you need those. All right, I need to dig deep, and sometimes you have to go into that fourth and that fifth gear. And Cyril Garn's got very good in the third in the third gear, but it's that time in deep waters. And also the fourth and the fifth round. That's where the champions are made. That's where they're the championship rounds, I suppose. So I feel like as much as Tom hasn't had much time in the cage, he's got the IQ and the experience of having that intensity to follow him into deep waters.
Yeah, and an incredible finish rate. That's another thing which Cyril doesn't have. He has that killer instinct to just shut you off. You know, he'll grab a neck, he'll knock you out. I know he hurt his hand against.
Just looking for ways to finish the fight. He knows he's not getting paid by the hour, so it's a case of let's get in there, put him out, put him to sleep, break an arm, and get going.
Break an arm, brilliant. One more thing, I know you didn't watch it. I don't think you did, but I just want to give a quick mention to Jack Della Maddalena as well, who made his UFC debut against Pete Rodriguez. So he was meant to be fighting.
How early was it on the card?
This was the third prelim.
Oh, okay.
So it's definitely go back and watch it. The prelims are phenomenal. 3 out of 4 of them were phenomenal, especially. Basically, meant to be fighting Wally Alves. Wally's pulled out with a week's notice, and they brought in Pete Rodriguez, who is 4-0 coming in. Knocked all 4 opponents out. Is not a welterweight. He is a lightweight stepping up. Because obviously they can't get a welterweight to cut that in that time.
No, of course not.
He was well out of his depth, but how good Jack looked after coming off the Contender Series, coming to this, literally beat the piss out of him for 2 minutes and knocked him out. So phenomenal. But he's one of the guys under Condition Nutrition who I had on the MMA show 2 weeks ago now. Absolutely ridiculous. And Raoni Barcelos as well, fought a guy called Victor Henry, who's one of the coaches for Josh Barnett.
I was surprised that I think Victor Henry got the W, right?
He was phenomenal. He
was
a 7-1 underdog.
I saw Raoni Barcelos, and I was like I thought this guy was pretty much a mainstay, like as ranked.
He's very good. Yeah,
and he's quality. So Victor Henry's no joke. I'm gonna have to watch a few highlight reels of his and kind of I want to study him a little bit more. I want to start getting a bit more invested, because since I've started the page, I've gone a lot more down the regional scene now. And before, I was heavily invested in the American side of things.
Yeah.
I remember I've got a video saved of when Cyril Gahn was, I think, 4-0, and it was a video of him throwing this absolutely brutal left body kick. And I shared it to my mate, and this was 2 years ago, and I was like, this guy's going to go far, mark my words. And then all of a sudden he had the interim title fight with Derek Lewis. I was like, what can I say?
There's a few fighters like that. I've mentioned that to my buddies as well, especially from the UK. When I watched Jack Shaw when he was 6-0 in Cage Warriors, I said, this guy's the most well-rounded fighter I've ever seen at 20 years old.
He's incredibly special.
And now he's
15
or 16. Yeah. and he
Still
barely
evolving.
loses rounds. He's phenomenal. Like Jack to me is he's the next level of British MMA. Like him, Nathaniel Wood's looking great recently.
Yeah,
like
his quality.
He's taken the time off to educate himself, and obviously Brad and Ashley now have made Great Britain top team, which looks brilliant. I've got to go down there. It's not too far from me, so I'm going to go down there.
How far of a drive is it then from you?
From me, probably 35 minutes.
Oh, really? That's not too bad for you.
Yeah.
I think it's like 2.5 hours or something for me. So
yeah,
that sounds good. You probably have a good day there.
Yeah, exactly that. And Brad and Ashley down there. I put a nice little Ashley Grimshaw as my coach of the year for Dominic Wooding, making him get an absolute
Dominic
highlight
Wooding.
reel.
Do you think he's going to get? I don't know if it was you commented saying that he needs to get the UFC call up.
He should.
He's fire.
He fought in Bellator against some absolute stud of a prospect, and
was it Franz Malambo?
Yeah, might have been Malambo. Might have been. I love Malambo, so it was a very close decision. And then he went over to Cage Warriors, fought immediately for the title, destroyed Nathan Fletcher, which Nathan Fletcher was a 7-1 favorite in that.
Yeah.
And a couple of my American friends were going, "You going for Fletcher then?" And I was like, "Bet the house on Wooding, I'm telling you." And then obviously second round flying knee.
I first got introduced to Dominic Wooding, Bellator Birmingham, nearly 3 years ago. He fought Dave Kelser. Dave Kelser actually lives he lives about 5 minutes up the road from me. He lives in Kidderminster. And his brother used to coach me and stuff. So and I saw going into the fight that Wooding was like 5-1, and I think Dave was on like a 3-fight losing streak or a 4-fight losing streak. He just lost to Cameron Hardy, and then he stepped up to fight Dominic Wooding, and Wooding beat the brakes off him. It was brutal. It was just couldn't be touched. I think he started with the calf kicks, completely ruined his leg, and then just pieced him up from there. And then obviously he had a couple more fights in Bellator, got fed to some hot prospect, like we said. I think it was Malambo. Yeah. And then he got released from Bellator after a decision lost in France, I want to say.
I'm just double checking because I don't want to repeat. It was, he did lose to Malambo, and then Diatta. That was the one I was thinking of.
And then Cage Warriors signed him, and I was like, okay, good addition. He seems he seems like a pretty marketable guy. He's a smaller guy. He wants to get big finishes, and he fought. Was it Cameron Hardy his Cage Warriors debut? Or was it Fletcher?
Fletcher was the defense. Yeah, Hardy was the vacant.
So he fought Cameron Hardy, and going into it, I said to a few people who I was speaking to about the fight, I was like, Cameron Hardy, don't sleep on him. Like, he's a good kickboxer. Yeah. And Dominic Wooding just looked just one or two levels above, and that says a lot because Cameron Hardy can throw down. Yeah,
and Nathan Fletcher as well. People like that. That's...
But like Wooding went up after each fight. I think he's had 3 fights in Cage Warriors now.
Yeah.
He went up, said that's 1, beat the other guy, and he was about to say that's 2, and then he got a rugby tackle by Nathan Grayson. And then he went when he defended the title. He was like, that's 3 now. And I was like, that's the kind of stuff that when the UFC kind of have a look at your profile, they're like, okay, this guy looks like he can sell himself a little bit.
Yeah. They like going to specific camps as well. I know Brad has a good in with the UFC. Obviously, legend there. But if they haven't called now, I don't think they're going to. I think he's going to have to fight again, which is really shit. After getting 3,
it is.
But I think he might have to fight again. I think they're looking at more people like Vucenic and Hughes.
Personally, right, I think if Wooding wants to be signed to the UFC, which I can imagine is the goal, he's already been to Bellator, it would be in his best interests for Cage Warriors to potentially start going to California and America a little bit more.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to call the UFC too lazy, but there's not much publicity on UK prospects at all. We have like one event in the UK every year, and like that's like the one thing that we're so excited for. I think they did a UFC Liverpool when Till fought Thompson.
Yeah, they
did. There's not many events at all, and like this is like a big goal of UK fighters now. You'll see like Paddy saying, "Oh, I want to fight in Liverpool, make it the biggest show in England."
Yeah.
And like this is a big goal for fighters. Like you had Leon Edwards saying to Till years ago, saying, let's do me and you hometown Birmingham, until it was like, it's not going to happen in Birmingham.
Yeah, no one likes Birmingham.
Yeah,
I remember that.
I was like, yep, cheers, mate. I live like 40 minutes away from there, but nice one, Darren. There's a way to lose a fan. But the UFC is quite lazy and doesn't really pay too much attention. Like, yeah, like when they have to, like they sign big deals. They sign people like when they flew out to Ireland for McGregor, they signed people like Dan Hardy. But I think the shows like in America will pay off big time for certain fighters who are looking to make a name and get into the UFC quick time. I think like a show in America, Cage Warriors would be brilliant for Dominic, would it?
Yeah,
it'd be amazing.
They get a lot of American fighters in it.
I think if not, it looks like Dom's probably going to have one or two more fights, and touch wood, they go well. Then his record looks a little bit more appealing.
That might be it. It might just be because of the record. It might be because of the record. It's not a flashy, like if Vucenic beats Hughes, he's got, I think, 8-1.
Yeah.
If Hughes beats Vucenic, he's 8-1. And that's, so the reason I know Morgan Charrier wasn't signed a few years ago is because his record's like 17-8. But you know how good he is. He's absolute quality fighter. But he's just not. He's not like he's got. If you go on his Instagram, I think he's got like 150,000 followers.
Yeah, he has a big following.
I went to the York Hall fight, and it was like a football ground. It was insane.
There was 2 fights. So when he fought Vucenic and when he fought Paul Hughes, I looked in the comment section. And the comments were absolutely booming. I saw how many comments there were compared to like any other.
El Chapa.
And it was literally just French flags and clown emojis. I was like, wow. Yeah, that's a relatively big audience, especially for France as well. Like, I mean, it's not even been legal there that long, I don't think.
No.
So
3 years.
I think it's definitely the record that kind of puts that puts like big promotions off fighters. Sadly. Like, it's going to be difficult for Darren Stewart now, I feel like Stewart's route to a promotion might potentially have to be Bellator.
That's personally, it's going to be very difficult. I think he was 5-8.
5-8, yeah. 5-8, I think
in the
2
UFC.
no contest or like a draw or something.
Yeah, get Eric Anders first fight. Yeah. People, I think you did the post about Darren Stewart, and I wrote the comment of going, he's not appreciated.
Yeah, and then someone said, he is 5-8, and I looked at both comments and I was like, yeah, he's extremely underappreciated. He's fought like the likes of Kevin Holland, and he's even had finishes in the UFC.
Yeah, he guillotine Maki Pitolo, knocked Eric Spicely clean out. He's got some good wins, but what people fail to see with Darren Stewart is he started doing MMA with training with no one, knocking everybody out in Cage Warriors. Within 2 years, the UFC approached him.
Yeah.
He had never trained with someone in the UFC while in the UFC.
Crazy.
It's insane. The dude is wicked. I love him to bits. I know he's good mates with Brad, so I'm going to try and get Darren on for it, because I'd like to hear what his plans are for 2022, how many fights he thinks he's going to have in Cage Warriors. He's a Cage Warriors king. I mean, it's great for me because I get to go see him live again on the cheap. So I go to pretty much every Cage Warriors event there is, so it's good for me.
So here's a question for Darren. So in terms of Darren Stewart's route now, how soon do you reckon he'll get the title shot for Cage Warriors?
If not instant,
instantly.
I would imagine instantly.
Is it? I'm led to believe Matt Bonner.
Bonner lost it. Didn't he? I'm gonna go crazy now. Pretty sure Bonner lost it. Went away Cage Warriors. Let me give it a quick search because it changes so frequently. Because it goes vacant every 2 days. Milan. Milan beat Bonner, didn't he? So Tijati Milan is the middleweight king at the moment. So I think Darren could. He's either going to fight someone like Bonner straight away. Which no offense to Matt Bonner. Because
I'm in the exact same boat. I feel that the experience that Darren Stewart has had, it doesn't look good for Bonner. Anything can happen. He's got 2 hands on a fighting chance, and he is a good fighter. But
he's kind of got Chris Fishgold syndrome. Too good for the regional scene.
It's kind of like a yo-yo effect. It's I don't know if you follow football much, but Fulham. Look at Fulham in the Championship. They're like Matt from Wii Sports when they're in the Championship.
Yeah.
Then you put him in the Premier League, and it's like, yep, 19th, 20th, see in a bit.
Norwich, same thing. Yeah.
Yeah, same with Norwich as well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I get what you're saying. It's yeah, I feel like if he comes back to Cage Warriors, has 3 fights, he's knocking 3 people out. And then
Yeah,
people
he was
say
like,
that
Matt Bonner was 6-6, and then I think he won like 4 straight.
yeah.
Yeah,
Bonner went on a roll.
like anything can happen, but like Darren Stewart, I feel like has came to Cage Warriors, going to completely tear up the scene.
He's changed camps. He's still training at MMA Clinic a bit.
Yeah.
But he's moved to shoot fighters to train with MVP and people like that.
I've noticed
he's now with people his weight in that caliber of, MVP is the top of the chain within his organization. I still think there's, he's getting fed a little bit, of a particular fighter to promote him. But that's what Bellator do. If he came into the UFC, he would be successful, but not he would not be top of the chain, in my opinion. Yeah. But
for Darren Stewart though, he's got good training partners there. Someone like from Shoot Fighters is Mike Shipman.
Yeah,
Mike Shipman. I think he's still at middleweight, but he's a pretty big middleweight. Like he's well.
I was about to say if not, he's 205, isn't it? He's a big boy.
Yeah, he's a very big guy. I remember when he fought Fabian, and they squared up, and he was a very big built geezer. So in terms of training partners, I'm pretty sure he's going to have people of the right level. Like Shipman's no joke. Yeah. And he's got a solid base, which is his wrestling. Mm-hmm. And Darren Stewart can strike if he decides to go back up to light heavyweight, because I think he had like 1 or 2 fights at light heavy in the UFC.
Yeah, I mean, if you saw him against Eric Anders at light heavyweight, Eric Anders looked twice the size of him. He needs to be a middleweight.
Stuart believed that he would have like a speed advantage.
He's my height. He's 6 foot.
Wow.
And I weigh 162. But and I've stood next to Darren before, and I'm literally like a pin.
Yeah, I can only imagine, mate.
But he can make middle. Like he should be a middleweight.
Yeah.
Like he's smaller than Michael Bisping.
Mm-hmm.
Like comfortably smaller. So
what's Bisping, like 6'2", 6'3"?
Yeah, something like that. 6'2".
Yeah.
He's the same height as Till. Like Darren Stewart is smaller than Till.
And Till was fighting at welterweight for like the majority of his career. Yeah.
And there you go. So do you know what I mean? So there's a conversation I want to have for you at a later date as well. We won't do it on this one, but
what is it like weight cutting and stuff?
I was going to say about Darren Till. I got a friend of the show that absolutely despises him.
Someone who despises Darren Till?
Yeah, basically he's on the lines of he's crap. He loses to everyone in the UFC. He can't throw. He throws one punch. It's a left hand, which is he annoyingly has proven me right over the couple of years.
When you watch so many BT Sport highlights of Darren Till, then that's the kind of assumption you'll jump to, and it's painful that sometimes in a way you have to kind of entertain the fact that you're agreeing with him, but then you also take into account the other variants. He's fighting people like Robert Whittaker. He's fighting Derek Blonde Brunson, who is just he's a mythical beast.
Yeah.
Derek Brunson with blonde hair has a chance against Adesanya. He didn't have a chance before when he wasn't blonde. Now he has a slim chance. He's dyed his hair, and all of a sudden his wrestling's gone up by like 10%.
Yeah.
So Darren Till's always fought game opponents.
I just said he got rushed. He got way too quick. He got a draw against Dolby. The Bosnian kid, Vlahovic or whatever his name was.
Vlahovic or something.
That's it. Yeah, he nearly finished him, but he didn't even finish him. Then he got Cowboy. Then he got rushed to Thompson, which I didn't think he won that fight. I thought that was a draw.
Yeah, when he beat Cowboy, I think it landed him as the number 8 welterweight in the world, and I think Thompson was number 2 at the time, and no one really wanted to fight Till in Liverpool. But Wonder Boy's like the nicest guy on the planet. He was like, you know what, I'll do it, and that was another close fight.
Yeah, exactly. It's all, and then they put like that rush from a Cowboy, compromised Cowboy, who shouldn't have been fighting
a guy who's not a welterweight,
fighting a guy that's a middleweight.
Yeah, a lightweight versus a middleweight.
Yeah,
and then fighting Thompson,
didn't he miss weight against Thompson as well? Like,
yeah, he weighed in at 180. I want to say 187.
I want to say it's only a few pounds, but it's still.
He missed weight by 3.5 pounds. So I think the max you can be is 186.
Yeah, it's a pound over.
Did you see the documentation of his weight cut?
No.
It was vile.
was it?
Like have you seen like the video where he's in like the really heavy sauna suits?
Oh, I've seen the sauna suits. Yeah.
So he's in the sauna suits. He's in towels and stuff.
Passing out.
Then there's him crawling out the sauna. He said he lost his vision or something. And then he's in that massive ass suit, just constantly hitting like power shots on pads and stuff. And like his whole gym are having to be around him, and it's just him in the room. Like they're all solely fixated on what Darren Till's doing. That's a sign that it's already like a concerning weight cut. If you need 100% of like your coach's attention, like I understand having 2 or 3 people with you, because weight cutting is no joke. It's a serious thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's a fancy way of saying I'm going to dehydrate myself to lose weight.
Yeah, exactly.
And everyone in the gym were just solely focused on his health. So already that's the red flag on how long do you want to be at welterweight for.
Yeah.
And then he still missed weight against Stephen Thompson. Lost, I think, 30% of his purse.
Yep.
And that's a lot for an English fighter.
Yep.
Leon Edwards against Rafael dos Anjos didn't make that much.
No, I bet, and that was the main event, wasn't it? That was 5 rounds.
When he fought Rafael dos Anjos in the main event, I've seen in quite a few places that to show was 24,000.
Blimey.
24,000.
Have you read Dan Hardy's book? I'm obviously massive
I've watched the video and I posted the video of when Dan Hardy said that he fought for a world title for $24,500,
including sponsors.
And when he got back after paying his coaches, he had I think £5,400 in his bank.
Yeah.
Did you see the look on the guy's face when he was told?
Yeah, it's mental. The actual pay he had to fight GSP was 6 and 6. 6 and 6 to fight GSP.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that it was 6K to show.
Tap out paid the rest essentially. It's
just
insane,
imagine,
isn't it?
Oh my God.
Represent. Look, you got to represent it. So.
Wow. I like that. I'll tag Dan Hardy in this after.
But and he'll be like that.
6 and 6.
Yeah, man.
And you saw how he fought against GSP. Complete heart of a champion. And he looked good in the higher end of the division. And he's getting paid 6K to show. And like you just said earlier, the standard you get paid now is 10,000 just to show and be probably the first fight on the card.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Like people are almost like the logic behind like the 50K bonuses and stuff like that. So picture Dan Hardy goes 25 minutes in a fight with GSP without sponsors, gets paid 6,000. All of that. So he has just a bog standard fight camp. GSP probably spent like 250,000 on his. Dan Hardy said about how much GSP spent on his. And obviously, he had pay-per-view shares and stuff because how
you would if you had the money, wouldn't you? Of course you would.
Yeah, of course.
Like, McGregor in the Diaz rematch spent £500,000 on a training account.
Yeah, he did.
And just about won.
And I forgot. So, if Dan Hardy was to knock out GSP, I think it would be an extra like 60 or 70,000 at the time, and that would have completely changed his whole life and outlook. It'd be like, oh my God, I'm getting paid really well. But in reality, it's like your contract was 6 and 6. That's terrible. He
said after the first year of commentating, he made more than he's ever made in his entire fight career.
It's to me, it's disgusting. Like when I hear people like that wording it, because he's a true pioneer of British MMA. He's total professional. Like aside from the whole "stop the fight" kind of thing,
I still applaud him for that.
I'm one that when Dana was saying it's an absolutely despicable thing, I was like, no, you know what? He's onto something.
Yeah.
Joey Herbert took unnecessary shots.
Yeah.
Herbert took unnecessary hits from a veteran in Trinaldo. Trinaldo's been around the block.
Yeah.
And when he got caught with that overhand, and Dan Hardy was right to confront him. Like Hardy's a complete professional.
No, he didn't even confront him. Herb came over to him.
Yeah, and then Dan said, and then Dan gave him his opinion. Yeah.
And Dan said, "Go away, I'm doing my job. Do yours."
That's twice now.
It's amazing, isn't it? No, he got put in the shit. But I do speak to his mate a few times about it anyway. But I feel bad. He's got my Dan Hardy collectible at the moment. He's signing it for me. Nice. Then they're going to send it back over, so I'll get that back on the wall. Got to get that.
Lovely. Nice little accessory. But yeah, to be getting paid more commentating than you are fighting. And I get he does a lot for commentating. He's
Yeah, a
one
lot
of
of the
one of the best
breakdowns.
analysts in the world.
Yeah.
He's what, like him and Dominic Cruz,
Yeah.
like high level. They're elite.
I rate Robin Black as well. Robin Black's very good. Robin Black stuff.
Michael Bisping's good as well when he when that's his when he's not having to be like the color commentator, and when he kind of takes that back step and be like, all right, this is what he needs to do. It's just fighter's knowledge and muscle memory.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, this is how he's going to get into half guard. You know, he's going to want to post here, but if he does that, then so and so is going to take, like, their understanding of the game and their fighting IQ pays off when they talk about it. Like it's unbelievable.
That's why I think people think DC's crap, because DC's the funny one. DC's actually, ironically, the funny one. He's meant to be the guy that's technical and teach you, you know, someone's going for a high crotch. He's going to say, all right, sweep the back leg. You keep your head posted to this side. You pinch your knees, all this stuff. But he doesn't. He just goes, Doug Rose, really loud. And says, oh, Francis doing jiu-jitsu.
Like, have you seen them? I don't know if you played UFC 4, but like the way that they have him commentate on that, like it's meant to be funny. It's meant to be in a jokey way. Yeah. Give me the whole platter, young man. And for some people, they absolutely love it. But then when Cruz said that he has to mute DC because he doesn't do the research, I didn't really know.
That's so funny. I found that so funny.
Did you see when they spoke about it after? When they actually sat down, and Cruz will never ever like.
He's got so no social awareness. Dominic Cruz. He
is unbelievably stubborn. He's like, what did I do wrong? Like, come on, Daniel.
I love Dom Cruz for that. Well, my mate calls him Dominic Snooze because he hates him. But
I absolutely love his style. Like, it's so like it intrigues. It's so intriguing to me. Like, because no one's really solved. Like, the only two people that solved it were Garbrandt and Henrik Cejudo. And like watching that, because if it was to be like a silhouette of him moving around in the cage, you know instantly that it's Dominic Cruz.
Yeah.
And this is how like styles make fights, and how, for the most part, that they sell. Like we were talking about Michel Pereira, he's like, that is his authentic and organic style now. It's like, he's the crazy dude who backflipped off the scales.
Yeah.
And for some people it works, some people it doesn't. And it's the same with DC's commentary. Some people are like, I like the humor. Like, if it's an armchair fan, it's like, whoever's commentating, this guy seems cool. Yeah. And then they find out that he's a fighter. But then there's some people that are, his job's to be more technical and say, he's got to keep his elbows tight and keep his head posted and get into the mat and basically try and word it in some real like posh sense. But you've got to have variety. That's what I feel like Dan Hardy and Paul Felder are very good at that.
Paul Felder I adore. Paul Felder, I think, took the book from... I liked Jimmy Smith when Jimmy Smith was doing it. Jimmy Smith said, what I got told about commentary was, don't say anything my mum knows. So don't say anything obvious. You don't need to tell people, look, good jab. You don't need to say that. He just said, tell people what they might not know. And I think that's what Felder does. Felder speaks like John Anik. He doesn't ever stutter. There's no mistakes in his vocab. You know what I mean? He's perfect. And when it was him, John Gooden, and Dan Hardy, that was my favorite trio.
Sorry about that. Sorry, a call just came through. I just had to turn off.
Oh, no worries. I was saying Paul Felder's like, there's no breaks in his vocab. I
think your audio might be playing up, or it might be mine.
I can hear you fine.
That was
reset.
If I just quickly unplug that, I'm sorry about this.
Oh, good.
Come on, please turn on. Wait, try and talk now.
Can you hear me now?
Oh, why have I done this? It's for some reason it's not working, bro.
Re-go in the link.
If I just try and click on that, please work. I'm ruining the show.
No.
I'm an absolute disgrace. Why is this not working?
There you go. He'll see it in a minute to re-click the link. We are now pending, awaiting the return. What we will be talking about, what we'll get to know is Sean Strickland and Jack Hermansson this weekend. That's the fight we want to see now. Just wait for Mason to come back. There he is. See that he's back. You just got to re-click the link, I think.
Yes, we're back.
He's back.
Right, I'm ever so sorry about that, guys. Technical difficulties. I got a call and it said it was from Edinburgh. And I'm like, well, I don't know anyone from Scotland. I know that, me and Paul Craig are like completely best buddies, but I don't know anybody from there. So we're still reviewing. Well, we're meant to be doing 270 live review, but we are just chatting pony.
I think we're on my final. I'll ask you the final question. We could end it actually, which is I want to get your opinion on Sean Strickland and Jack Hermansson this weekend, because my video's got very mixed reviews on what people think. Because of obviously Sean's recent success and people, I think, forgetting a little bit about what Hermansson can do. Yeah,
Hermansson is heavily slept on. He is another guy who's fought people like, just fought the who's who. He's fought Jared Cannonier. He's fought basically, he's fought all kinds of styles. And Strickland, I haven't really figured out what is his style. It's just kind of march forward like a psychopath and just talk a lot of shit, man. Like, have you seen like any of his training footage?
Yeah, his training footage is more entertaining than some of the fights.
Yeah, it is. But then there's that fight against another Jack that he fought. He's like, 10 seconds, Jack. Jack, why is your head made out of? Just like, I don't know whether it's a gimmick, but apparently like he's like this all the time.
Yeah.
Like,
have you seen his pre-fight interview questions? I know MMA Junkie, they report on it a lot. And the Mac life and stuff.
But I know that somebody said something about when apparently he's always asking to spar Ngannou.
Yeah.
that makes one of us.
Yeah, so it's Extreme Couture, isn't it? He's at.
Yeah, he's
if he's fighting Ngannou.
But Hermansson and Strickland is going to be a tough one, because Hermansson has some slick BJJ and he knows how to squeeze a neck in its raw form. So it will be interesting to see Strickland's ability to. I believe it's a main event fight, right?
Yeah.
So I'm not doubting his conditioning. I'm more questioning his conditioning going against somebody like Jack Hermansson, who is a tough, durable fighter and is pretty much good everywhere. I feel that Sean Strickland's a more gritty fighter standing up, and that will pay off. Yeah. And it just depends on who gets the edge in the wrestling. The person who wants to wrestle is dictating where the fight goes. So it's going to be a case of just who shows up on the day, because anything can happen. I didn't predict that Ngannou would be double legging Cyril Gane, but here we are on a review about it. So my prediction for that is, my heart's saying Strickland, but my head is saying Jack Hermansson, guillotine 4th round.
Oh, even the specifics of a guillotine. I like
guillotine
it. I mean, that's his thing, isn't it? I think he can definitely strike. I would favour Strickland in just a straight kickboxing match, but in MMA, I think Jack mixes, as you said it yourself, mixes it up perfectly. That's the game plan, isn't it? Make him think. You got to mix in everything. Mm-hmm. If it goes to the ground as well, if you remember his Strickland's debut, he got a choke. He got a rear naked choke. He's got some good ground game.
Yeah, no, Strickland's good. Like
he just doesn't use it.
Yeah, he just doesn't like to, does he? He's just so.
He is kind of Diaz-y, isn't he?
Diaz effect, yeah, the Diaz effect.
50% punches, waits till you're hurt, then unloads, and like the Brendan Allen fight,
and then close in. Yeah.
Yeah. So
like when he took down Uriah Hall, or I think he knocked down Uriah Hall and then jumped on him. He was saying to Uriah, he's like, "You've got to get your back to the fence, Uriah." Like, he's confident on the ground. Like, he's talking excess amounts of shit against a ranked fighter. So he obviously knows what he's doing. He's a confident guy, and he's a bit of a screw loose. He is the UFC's Trevor Phillips. So it's gonna be exciting. I'm looking forward to that. I'm definitely going to tune in for that. I'm a Sean Strickland fan.
Yeah. I'm a Jack Hermansson fan, so it hurts me. Obviously.
Pleased to meet you, mate.
We've
been here for like an hour now. I didn't know that. And on that note, it's been emotional, sin abyss.
But I really do think Strickland could do this. But I'm going to back Hermansson just based on the quality of fighters he's fought against. They also missed a trick here. You could have had Strickland v Kevin Holland.
Kevin Holland.
That would have been the ultimate trash talking fight. Both.
That would be quality.
Well, Kevin's moved down to welterweight now, and Strickland used to be a welterweight.
He's fighting Cowboy Oliveira.
Yeah, which is another crazy one.
But Strickland and Kevin Holland, like, I dread to think the conversations that would be happening in the cage. It'd be a couple of faint jabs, and it'd be like, "Oh, do you fancy getting something from Whole Foods, or just be like some real like generic questions. I think they'll have like a complete and wholesome conversation when they're fighting. So hopefully, if Kevin Holland does ever go back up to middleweight, that'd happen, because I absolutely love the trash talking in a fight. And it's not even trash talking either, it's just like casual conversation. But that's the kind of stuff that Strickland and Holland bring to the table. Like, it's not quite that Diaz, let's go, bitch, Stockton slap kind of thing. It's more just, I'm having fun in here, I'm in my element. Again, the Pereira effect. So I'm doing what is considered fun to me.
Yeah. So you're going with a Strickland W here, or are you going for a guillotine fourth?
I can't even give you I'm just gonna say it now. I'm gonna say Jack Hermansson.
Jack Hermansson. I'm also going Jack Hermansson.
I'm a Strickland fan, but I think Hermansson's gonna win.
Love it. Perfect, dude. I appreciate this. It's been got a good hour 10. We got a mix of UFC 270 and just random chit chat.
This just wasn't UFC 270 live review. This was Norton MMA.
It starts as that. It starts as it.
Norton MMA, the British MMA scene. It's a alternate episode to Paddy the Baddies Chatting Pony podcast.
One day
for sure.
Get him on all that stuff. Perfect, I do. No, I do appreciate you coming on. It's been nice.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me. I appreciate it. It's I've been looking forward to it for a few days now. So hopefully we have a catch up about the UFC London card.
Yes.
We can talk a little bit more about Darren Till. Bring on the anti-Darren Till fan.
I'll see if I can get Aaron on. I'll get Aaron on. He that's Aaron the Dog MMA as well on YouTube. He does betting podcasts. I'm on that on Wednesday for his Bellator one.
Lovely. I'll be sure to check them out.
Featuring Aiden Lee.
Lovely. Oh, sounds good. But yeah, we'll definitely have to do this again soon. It's been emotional. I appreciate it. Thank you for having me on, bro.
Appreciate it, dude. Right. We'll see you all later.
Nice one.
Cheers, dude.